Welcome to the Root Cause Revolution podcast with functional and integrative nurse nutritionist and energy medicine practitioner, Audrey Christie.
Hello and welcome to episode 223 of the Root Cause Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Audrey. Today we're going to talk about a subject that I want you to open your mind to listen and learn. Okay, we're going to talk about rheumatoid arthritis. And I'm going to jump right out of the gate here, and say rheumatoid arthritis is not a disease of the joints. It's not. Rheumatoid arthritis is not a disease of the joints. That is where the end result is, but it is not a disease of the joints. If this is your first time listening, I'm Audrey Christie. I'm a naturopath, a functional and integrative nutritionist, and energy medicine practitioner, and I specialize in helping you uncover the root cause, and the root cause that holds you back from achieving your full expression of wellness, from feeling alive again. And so I've helped hundreds of women over the years get rebalanced so that they are not experiencing something like rheumatoid arthritis any longer. So that's probably a good place to start. A lot of people come to me and they're like, I don't have any expectation of getting off my medication. And then turn around 6-12 months later, depending on the person, sometimes earlier than that, all of a sudden we're not requiring those medications anymore. So rheumatoid arthritis is a huge diagnosis. And last I checked, there were upwards of a few million, somewhere near 4 million adults that have active rheumatoid arthritis diagnosis. And that's just at any given time. So we're going to talk a little bit about what is rheumatoid, including how do you land in a rheumatoid arthritis diagnosis and what does that mean? And we're going to talk about the most common question I get. What can I do to rebalance my body so that I'm not experiencing rheumatoid arthritis anymore? So let's talk about RA. So if you have RA, or if you know someone who has RA, then you know that it is painful and debilitating. You may or may not know that it is an autoimmune disease, and you may or may not know that it affects the joints, but it also affects skin and energy levels and lots of other things. Usually it shows up with pain and swelling and stiffness and some sort of limitation in mobility or movement of the joints. Usually it occurs bilaterally, meaning equally on both sides of the body. And oftentimes, people that have rheumatoid, just like other autoimmune conditions and other chronic illnesses, they tend to see flare-ups where symptoms are worse for periods of time, and then they feel a little bit, even if it's slightly better, for periods of time. So a lot of times you'll see swelling and pain in the joints. It lasts for 6 or more weeks. And like I said, it shows up generally on both sides of the body. So it's not just usually your left wrist, for example, but it would be both wrists. Typically, we see it starting on the periphery first. So in your hands, your feet, your ankles, your wrists. Occasionally, you'll have warmth and redness of the joints as well. And even the warmth and redness is generally in a symmetrical pattern. Usually, this comes with mood swings, fatigue, muscle aches, loss of appetite, and sometimes even a low-grade fever. And that's just your immune system trying to do its job. So rheumatoid, like other autoimmune diseases, is often diagnosed by a set of symptoms. There isn't a blood test where you can go, yep, your RA test came back positive. You definitively have RA. Usually it's diagnosed with a combination of signs and symptoms and lab results. And you have to go to a conventional medicine doctor to be diagnosed with rheumatoid. Now, here's where it gets a little dicey. So if you've been hanging around the Root Cause Revolution podcast for very long, you know that a diagnosis is simply giving a name to a collection of symptoms so that you can assign it a code and then prescribe a medication for it. Now, sometimes I get a reputation of not agreeing with, I won't say not agreeing with, of not being a fan of conventional medicine. And I think that all medicine, conventional, natural, traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, all of those things are valid forms of medicine, but they're not right for every person all the time. So rheumatoid arthritis treated conventionally, I'm not saying don't go get conventional treatment initially, right? Because we want to get you out of the pain, although there are natural things you can do to reduce the pain and inflammation and all of that. quickly, you might require some conventional care initially. Where conventional medicine fails us is in the long-term pursuit of wellness, because long-term, if you continue to mask the symptoms of your rheumatoid arthritis with medication, be it biologics, whatever the latest thing is on the market, doesn't matter, then your body will find another way to speak to you. So you continue to mask those symptoms, then before you know it, you have additional autoimmunity or autoimmune issues piling up. You end up in a state of poly or multiple autoimmune diseases. Whereas if you instead look at the root cause for your rheumatoid arthritis, and likely it's multiple roots, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that, and you'll see what I mean by rheumatoid is not a disease of the joints. But typically, if you look at the root cause and rebalance that, then not only does your body heal itself from the rheumatoid arthritis, but you don't have additional autoimmune diseases that stack on top, and you don't end up in a state of polyautoimmunity, which is polyautoimmunity is a much more complex state to heal from. Now, when I say your body will heal itself from RA, there are some limitations to that. Once you start to see on X-ray that you have deformity in your joints, I haven't personally seen someone come back from the deformity in the joints. What you can do is heal the pain and inflammation. And if you start to work on the root cause before you have marked degeneration and deformity in your joints, then you have a much greater chance of recovering fully from it as if it never existed. So at the top of the episode, I said that rheumatoid arthritis is not a disease of the joints. And that kind of ties into masking your symptoms with conventional medications. The reason you continue to get worse despite your conventional treatment's best effort is that rheumatoid is not a disease of the joints. It's an autoimmune disease, which means it has roots in the immune system. It has roots in your energetics. It has roots in nutrition. It has roots in epigenetic or genetic, really epigenetic, so turning genes on and off, right? The pathway that those unbalanced areas of your wellness, unbalanced areas of your body lands in is your joints because of that sort of weak link in your genetic predisposition, right? We know that the recipe for rheumatoid arthritis is 1 part genetic predisposition, and that is turned off and on by lifestyle choices. And lifestyle choices encompass everything from environmental triggers to leaky gut to stress, all of those things. So depending on your genetic predisposition, if you have this sort of soup put together for autoimmune disease, you may end up with rheumatoid arthritis or another autoimmune dynamic happening in your body, like psoriatic arthritis or psoriasis or Hashimoto's thyroiditis, any of those things. So there are generally additional parts of the body affected or impacted by rheumatoid arthritis sort of collection of symptoms, like impact on the vital organs, the endocrine or the endocrine system or endocrine glands, okay? One common misconception is that the reason why people have RA or get RA or any other autoimmune disease for that matter is because you were gifted a particular set of genes from your parents. And it's true that there is a genetic component, like I just said, to the recipe for RA, but there is a specific pattern that can be found in genetic code that is correlated, not causative, but correlated with rheumatoid arthritis. But know that having particular genetic markers is not the reason, and it's certainly not a definitive reason that you will or will not express rheumatoid arthritis. The definitive marker comes from your lifestyle that turns these genes on and off through environmental triggers and inflammation and leaky gut and energetic disturbances, okay? So those triggers tend to be viral infection. So once you have sort of that soup hanging out, your toxin bucket is super full, you have a number of environmental and lifestyle factors that have led you to have this toxic your toxin bucket in your body that isn't emptying properly. And so then you usually have a trigger, right? It can be a super stressful event. It can be a gallbladder issue. It can be a vitamin D issue. It can be poor energetic maintenance. It could be nutrition, mental, emotional stress, excessive chronic stress or acute stress. And a lot of times people they've been under stress for so long, they don't even realize that stress is a trigger for them. It's just kind of become their normal routine. And then of course there are viral infections. I tend to see a lot of Lyme and Lyme co-infections associated with rheumatoid disease as well. So all of that to say, let's talk about how we can rebalance the body. Now, oftentimes, something like rheumatoid is a very complex situation. And so there's only so much that I can give you in terms of actual actionable steps. So what I want to talk to you about is, rather than focusing on supplements, I will give you some information on some rapid relief. But you have to be careful with rapid relief substances or supplements, because it's certainly a part of a complete kind of rebalancing plan. But if you rely exclusively on those supplements that work really, really fast to help reduce pain and inflammation, then what ends up happening is you are just masking symptoms in a more natural way. Now, is it better than masking symptoms long-term with a conventional medication? Of course it is. There's far less side effects, but it's also still not addressing the root cause and healing the body, right? And so often I run into people and I talk to lots of people, and they're like, well, I saw someone just like you, and they put me on a 2-week protocol, and it worked for about 5 minutes, and then it was gone. Or I saw someone just like you, and they put me on supplements, and I have to take them for the rest of my life. That is not rebalancing the body. Yes, there are some supplements that all humans have to take because our food supply is depleted of them, or we have a lifestyle that naturally depletes, one or more nutrients. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who are on these huge supplement programs for, $800 a month and all these things, and they just have to take that for the rest of their lives. That is not rebalancing the body so that it can heal. That is just masking symptoms. It's called green medicine. It's just masking symptoms with more natural products, right? Or medications, even supplements. So there's a few steps here. One, you're going to want to start to detox the body. And in order to do that, we have to make sure that our drainage and energy pathways are open, okay? And so I recommend going through at least 4 weeks of energy and drainage to get your body moving again. I have a little energy and drainage course that if you're kind of a DIYer, you're not new to this sort of healing and detoxing game, then definitely go check that out. What it does, I'll link it in the show notes at audreychristie.com/223. It's only $25. I want you to have access to everything for a copay, just like you would at a doctor's office, right? So you go grab that energy and drainage course, or you can schedule an appointment with me and we can do that one-on-one with each other. All of those links will be on the show notes, audreychristie.com/223. But what you're going to do is open up your drainage pathways, cellularly, your kidneys, your lymphatic system, your liver, and your bowels. All of these things have to be moving and functioning in order for your body to naturally detox itself. And people will say, oh, your body has detox organs, all this kind of stuff. Well, just like your car has an exhaust system or an oil pan that lubricates the engine so it can keep going, sometimes those things need maintenance. They need repair, especially, if you think of like a car, especially if you're taking your truck, you're driving it through creeks and rivers and, door deep mud, right? You have to have some maintenance. You can consider what you're doing to your body with all of these chemicals in our environment, all the chemicals that we willingly put on ourselves, all the things in our food, and especially if we're eating a ton of ultra processed food, all of these things have to be detox. And eventually your human suit gets full of toxins. That toxin bucket overflows, and then you end up with some sort of chronic issue, be it rheumatoid or something else. So the first step is energy and drainage, right? After that, there are some things that we need to look at to see specifically for you what your root causes are, right? Most everyone has a root cause in nutrition. So I absolutely recommend that if you have rheumatoid arthritis, you should be off of gluten completely, non-negotiable. You should be off of dairy completely, non-negotiable. The science firmly indicates that you have to be off of those. So you just want to make sure that you want to give those two things up. The next step is to reduce or remove processed foods, and then to know your allergies and sensitivities. So that's something that we can do with a simple food allergy test. It's a test you do at home. It's a finger stick, or a food sensitivity test. So a lot of times people say, well, Audrey, I had my food allergies tested and I don't have any. So allergies and sensitivities are two totally different things. And I'll do a complete episode on that very, very soon. But food allergies, we know we have. That's when you eat a peanut and you swell up, right? Food sensitivities are a little more insidious than that. They are the ones that cause this long-term lasting inflammation. And food sensitivities, they don't hit for 24, 48, sometimes even 72 hours after you eat the food. So they're much more difficult to determine, to discover what those sensitivities are. So oftentimes we can do an elimination diet, we can do or a finger stick food sensitivity test and know immediately exactly what you need to be avoiding and what you need to be eating more of. So make sure that you're taking those steps, right? Energy and drainage, either with me or with on your own in the DIY class. Getting rid of gluten, getting rid of dairy, knowing your allergies and sensitivities. Another thing is really, really important to hydrate. It's particularly important for all humans, but maybe for you, if you're having an autoimmune dynamic, even more important. Water, water, water. People can reduce their pain, all those synovial fluid in your joints, as well as the cushions, like in between your spine, your vertebral discs, in your knees. All of these joints have cushions, and those cushions require hydration in order to function properly. And so you want to have as much hydration as possible. And then, of course, taking good care of your energetic hygiene. So de-exciting your nervous system is critical to finding pain relief, to finding stress relief, and to rebalancing your body for rheumatoid arthritis. My favorite free thing is a healthy dose of meditation 2 times per day. And before you push back and you say, I don't have time to meditate, Audrey, statistically, if we look at the data, people gain 6 to 10 times more productivity by spending 20 to 30 minutes a day sitting in meditation. And that's just one of the benefits. Okay. So that's just giving you like a real, forward thinking A-type personality way to look at it. The data doesn't lie. And meditation helps to modulate the immune system as well as put you more in tune with your body. So hopefully all of that information has helped you understand a little bit more why rheumatoid arthritis is not a disease of the joints and how you can take steps right now to start changing the future of your health and wellness, to start feeling alive again, and to uncover your root cause. As always, I am here to help. All of the information on how we can work together one-on-one, how you can work in our group course, our group membership, or do the DIY courses on your own can be found at audreychristie.com/223. And then, of course, I invite you to join our free Women's Wellness Circle on Facebook. You can find that linked on the show notes page as well. As always, friends, I am rooting for you. I'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Root Cause Revolution podcast. Be sure and subscribe on your favorite podcast provider. Ratings and reviews are always appreciated.